All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MT4MH Studios, where we spread our love and we share our ketogenic lifestyles. This is the Find Your Keto show, and I'm your host, Stephen T., here to help guide you on your healing journey. At Find Your Keto, we believe there is no one-size-fits-all path to healing, health, or ketosis, but the right approach depends on the person, the problem, and the goal. Let's find your keto and fuel your fire. Today, I've got my very close friend, Holly Smith, joining me, better known online as Friendly Neighborhood Carnivore. If you caught our first conversation, you already know Holly has been on a powerful journey with the lion diet, fasting, and carnivore living, and she's become someone a lot of people connect with because she keeps it real, keeps it practical, and doesn't try to overcomplicate things. Since we last talked, Holly has continued building her presence online through YouTube, Instagram, and X, where she shares simple carnivore meals, recipe ideas, and the day-to-day reality of living this way. She's also been stepping further into the broader carnivore community through things like meatstock and brand partnerships such as Carnivore Bar. Today, I want to catch up with Holly and talk about what's changed since our first interview. We're going to get into her YouTube growth, recipe content, dairy-free carnivore ideas, what meatstock was like, and what it's been like turning a personal healing journey into a public platform. Holly, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Thank you. I am great. I am so excited that we get to hang out again.
Yeah, me too. It's funny because we've been in that Discord group, and I was thinking about it prior to when we came on. I think it'll be 2 years in September that we've been in Discord together with a third friend of ours. Is that right?
I believe so. I know that I keep notebooks of my accountability from when we started that group, and I've got a stack of notebooks like this thick, and I think it's about 2 months per notebook. So that sounds about right.
It's funny because I was doing the math in my head. I'm like, it feels like it's been so much longer. It feels like it could be 3 years or 5 years. So you and I and another friend of ours, we've been in Discord together, and while we may not directly talk to each other every day, we're in there and we're interacting on some level just about on a daily basis. So it's been so meaningful to me, so powerful in my life to have you and our other friend sticking by me through the tough times and never judging me and always supporting me when I needed it. And when I was down, you were there for me. And now that I'm back up, you're there for me. And I consider the two of you my best friends. It's great to have you here.
Well, thank you. I know I consider the two of you very close friends as well. I just absolutely love you guys. And same. I mean, if I ever feel like I'm not doing well or these negative thoughts come creeping in, I can come tell you guys and y'all are there for me. And you're like, hey, it's okay. We've got this. And it's incredible.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have each other.
We are.
I've been asking my guests right off the top about your strongest traits. We all have strengths that carry us through challenges. What do you consider your strongest traits or skills? How have they shaped your ketogenic journey?
I don't know if I would consider it a skill per se, but I can be very, very determined. But it's I don't know how to exactly explain it. It's not like anything comes along and I'm just like zeroed in and I'm there. But I have a moment where my brain will flip this switch and I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I am doing it and this is it. And the moment that switch happens, I will be laser focused and I am on that target. So as long as I have that target in front of me to be aiming at, I'm good. Take that target away, I'm gonna be making some weird things happen and complaining and being like, what's going on? But if I see that target, I'm good.
And I think that quality you're discussing is something I have, and our friend in Discord as well shares that with us. I think that's why we all get along so well and why it works for us, because we all have that same determination. And at various times, you might be inspiring me, I might be inspiring somebody else, and we all can inspire each other that way by showing our drive and our determination.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
For people who may not have seen our first conversation, give us the quick version of who you are and what brought you to the carnivore diet.
Sure. So my journey in a nutshell is that I spent most of my life talking goes back to early childhood, having things that weren't optimal with my health, whether it be skin issues, digestion issues, just constant stomach ache, things like that, persisted throughout my whole life. I never knew I was sick. I never knew that there was anything wrong with any way that I felt. I just assumed that was normal and that's part of being human. In my 30s, I decided to go to the doctor and get some blood work done because I was an adult. I hadn't had blood work done ever. And when I went, I don't remember if it was during the pandemic or right after, but I had put on some weight during the pandemic and all that. I'm pretty sure it was right after the pandemic. And I thought, it's time to be a grown up, go get some blood work done. Let's just see what we're dealing with here. And the nurse called me with my results, and I'm very grateful to her because her response was, Holly, your triglycerides are high. You need to cut the carbs. And that was that eye opening moment of, okay, I have a problem. She gave me a solution and I had to go for it. Again, that put a target in front of my eyes. Now, when it started, did I know what carbs were that were causing me these high triglycerides? I did not. I had to go down the whole rabbit hole of figuring out what the heck I was eating. Spoiler alert, it was everything I was eating that was causing my triglycerides to be high. And so I stumbled upon keto looking for ways to lower the carbs. And that lasted about a year. I think I was keto for just shy of a month when I started seeing more of Dr. Barry, who's constantly talking about turn down the knob on your carbs and just make it lower and lower. Carnivore is great, especially if you need to find healing. And throughout that year of being keto, I found a lot of healing. I had taken care of so many things that I didn't know were actual health issues and that I was feeling bad. But I still had some skin issues. I still had an IBS flare up occasionally. And I thought, let's give carnivore a try. And I did. And I have never looked back. So when I went into social media, it was my way of kind of being a daily visual diary entry to myself to look at what I'm doing and stay accountable. I was terrified to do it. I've always been terrified of social media. And I thought I'm going to put pictures of my stuff up and people are going to be so mean and they're going to hurt my feelings and I'm going to hate this and I'm going to hate that I did it. But I thought this is how I'm going to make myself accountable. I'm just going to like every day, we're just going to post what we're doing. And people were so nice and amazing and asking like, well, how do you cook this? And what is your recipe? And it just took off from there.
I love hearing this part of your story because you found somebody in healthcare that looked at your cholesterol, did not focus on LDL, focused on your triglycerides, and said to lower your carbs. Is this like the twilight zone we're living in? How did this even happen?
Definitely the twilight zone. I was very fortunate that she took that approach. And not that I want to get into the weeds of cholesterol and all that, but let's face it, most people on a carnivore diet end up having to look at cholesterol at some point because we get blood work done. And of course, our numbers are not going to make doctors happy or anything. I have managed to stick with this nurse practitioner that I had. She has changed practices and I have followed her wherever she has gone. And she too is a carnivore. I could not believe it when I found out. I thought that's crazy. So she too is a carnivore. She's not as strict. She will dabble in other stuff, but she gets it. She understands where I'm coming from. So when I've gone in there since then, and my triglycerides, of course, are beautiful now, and I'm not worried about it, and I'm not worried about cholesterol either. But her being in the medical field, whenever my cholesterol panel comes back, she looks at it and she's like, now I know why it looks like this, and you know why it looks like this. However, if I don't say this and recommend a statin, I'm going to be in trouble with my job. So every single time we go through the whole rigmarole, I get it. I am telling you right now, I'm passing it up. I'm not entertaining the thought. I'm good.
You're really lucky to have her. So I want to get into what has changed for you in the last 2 years since I interviewed last? So when you look back at our first interview, right, it was almost 2 years ago. I think it was July of 24, right? Yeah, it was July 24.
Probably.
And I want to know what's changed the most since then. Is there any one major thing that's changed the most?
Oh, I have no idea. Let's see, 2 years ago. I mean, a lot changes in 2 years, let's face it. And changes happen a little bit over time. So I might be vastly different than what I was then. And it's hard to even pinpoint what it is. At that point in time, I know I was following Lion Diet. Now, when I was doing that, it wasn't with the mindset that I was going to be on Lion Diet forever. So I wouldn't consider the fact that I'm not on Lion Diet being that major of a pivot just because I was using it for a healing aspect. I was still having dairy outside of the Lion Diet 2 years ago. So once I started bringing things back in and testing, dairy was just not working for me. So I became dairy free for the most part completely. For a little while there, I would still allow things like goat cheese or something like that for an occasional treat when we would have like holiday things and things like that. Uh, in fact, I technically allow them now. It's just I've had no interest in eating them. So it's been, I mean, well over a year since I've had that anyways. So that's taken a turn. Um, Really outside of that, I still eat all the things. I eat eggs and seafood and lots of beef. I guess I do probably focus more on beef now than I did 2 years ago outside of the Lion Diet. I make sure just about every meal has beef in it, or at least every day it's predominantly beef. And then I just have little splashes of other proteins in there for some variety. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just happily sticking to carnivore.
That's great. That's what I expected. So I was wondering more specifically in the last 2 years, have there been any major events like a win, maybe a setback, or a surprise during that time?
Well, um, of course, I think there's wins all the time. Um, when I was doing Lion Diet back when I was, that was my optimal win for having like the amazing bikini body. Yes, let's do this. Now, let's face it. I mean, somebody could argue with me and they could say, no, that's totally sustainable and you can keep that all the time. I'm going to say for me, that's not sustainable. And I mean, honestly, I was at a point where I was starting to not feel good again, being the size that I was. I mean, I had some, muscle mass and I was looking good and I was really thin, but my fat percentage was the lowest it's ever been. I don't remember what it was. It was the lowest it's ever been. And I was starting to have like joint pains and things like that again. And I'm thinking, oh, that's not good. So looking back, I noticed that when I was doing the Lion Diet, it was naturally a leaner version, not intentionally, but I wasn't tracking what I was eating. I was just eating beef. And a lot of it comes with fat, but it's not a whole lot of fat. And I tend to add fat to my diet outside of the Lion Diet. And usually back then it would have been butter. Now it's ghee, or I might add some other fat sources to it. But looking back at pictures when I was doing Lion Diet, my meals were very lean. So I learned that um, the lean, the lean approach, though it worked to look good, it was not sustainable long term for me. I was not feeling as great. I was having some aches and pains. I was, if I remember correctly, towards the end there, I was getting like more tired because I wasn't having the fat bringing all that energy and everything. So when I got back to bringing in other foods and things like that, of course, I was doing higher fat and all that, and my body fat percentage has gone back up. And I'm not going to say that that was a fail. That's totally normal, especially as a woman. We're supposed to have some fat on our body. So I was feeling good again. And I mean, I don't think I look bad. I just don't have a six pack showing anymore, so I'm still happy and everything. So I think that has been great. I think the most eye-opening thing that's happened since then, and I really hoped following a carnivore diet that I wouldn't see things like this happen, but you're human and things happen. I turned 40 since then. And strangely, they say things like when you turn 40, like that's when it hits the fan. Like everything that can go wrong is going to go wrong and everything is haywire. And I thought, no, that's not going to happen. I eat really clean. I watch what I do. I'm active. Can I just tell you, I went on a cruise for my 40th birthday. And of course, I put on weight on the cruise because everybody does. I stayed carnivore. I avoided the seed oils. I didn't even eat the dairy on there except for butter because that's the easiest fat that you can get that's not seed oils on the cruise ship. So I did have butter. Um, Gained weight on this cruise. Also dealt with things like my ankles were swelling by the end of it. It was bizarre, very bizarre for me. And I thought, oh man, I don't like this. And I thought when I get home, like we're going to dial it down and we're going to be able to like really hone in on this and fix it. That didn't happen. That weight has stayed with me for like, I'm, it's a whole year now. It's a whole year later. And finally, just like a month ago, I honed in on taking sweeteners back out of my diet. I wasn't doing artificial sweeteners, but I would have things like allulose and stevia and like the ones that aren't supposed to affect your glucose levels. And I I tested with a CGM and none of them made my blood sugar, go crazy or anything. But removing them from my diet this month, I have started losing weight again. It's been annoyingly the way women lose weight, where we gain and then we lose, and then we gain and then we lose. But every time I get to that lowest point on losing before I gain some, I'm just a little bit less than I was at the lower point the previous. So it's working. It's annoying, but it's working. And I'm guessing maybe it's that I'm stimulating my appetite more, having the sweeteners, and I'm just wanting them more. And it could also be my addiction to chewing the sugar-free gum. I love it's a xylitol gum and it's just a peppermint gum. And strangely, out of all the things I tested with my CGM, that stupid gum is what would give me an insulin spike. And I'd have other stuff that I would think would make a bigger impact. And that stupid chewing gum is what would do it. So I feel like my win is finally coming. It's been some time and my win is finally coming, but it just goes to show that you constantly have to tweak things in your life and make adjustments. You never know what it is that's causing you your issues. You just constantly have to look at it and reflect.
Yeah, excellent. That's the definition to me of pragmatism. Being willing to do what works in the moment. And maybe 6 months ago, sweeteners work for you, but today they're not working. So you take them out. And this is another reason why we get along so well in the Discord, because we're always doing different challenges. We're always willing to try things. I was wearing a CGM recently and I was not testing out sweeteners. I was just wearing it because I was trying to encourage my daughter to put one on. And eating the way I eat, having a CGM on is just really boring. It's mostly just a flat line. I'm like, I don't know. It's nothing really to look at. But the thing you're describing about your experience with having not enough fat in your diet is very common. This just points to what I was saying in my intro, is that everybody's keto is going to be different. You got to find your path. Some people can go on Lion and they can eat fatty meat all day and they're good to go. I can't do it. I've tried Lion diet. There is not nearly enough fat. I will still be angry, irritable, depressed. I will have low motivation. I will not be nearly the person I want to be. And that was part of my motivation for writing the Fire Diet, which is my diet plan coming out soon. And I have a tier in there which is similar to Lion because it's ruminant based, but it's a focus on high fat. And the way I designed it was, it's not meant to be a long-term destination for people, but it could be. I know it is for me because I had my experiments recently where I was playing around with some fermented vegetables and it just didn't end well. That's what I figured would happen. And I just do best on ruminant only and high fat and nothing else. It's just what works for me. You have found what works for you. You've tweaked it over the years, right? And always willing to experiment and change things up. I think that's a very powerful message. It's a journey that we're on. There is no endpoint destination, where I always say, like, I can't just wake up and say, hey, I'm in keto heaven now. I'm done. That's it. I made it here. It's a constant struggle. It is, right? And I use the analogy of being on the road of life, and we're all in cars and we're driving down the highway and we're going to run into traffic and hit potholes, and there's going to be accidents, right? We're going to take wrong turns and veer off course, and it's just a constant journey. You never actually end up getting someplace. I can never take my foot off the gas. I have to stay in the car and stay at it. And that's exactly what you're saying you've been doing. And that's part of the reason that I love you so much and that we're such close friends is because we have that like mindedness. I really appreciate that about you.
Thank you. I love that too. And I feel the same way. I feel like we kind of have our own, like you created this whole fire diet situation and like it's amazing. And it just kind of makes me think you're talking people can, you know, follow a path and to get them to healing and they don't have to stay on it forever. But that path is essentially their map. That is their roadmap. And I'm not talking the GPS on your phone that the battery dies and you don't have it anymore, or you lose signal and what are you doing? You're driving in circles. You've got your roadmap. You can always open it back up, look and see what was helping you, and navigate through and start over again if you need to start over and weed things out, or just, hey, I'm feeling not as good as I was feeling a month ago. Let me just kind of go back and revisit and fine tune. And that is the most incredible thing about this way of eating is just being able to constantly just go back and you're not starting from the beginning. You're probably in another state. You've driven to another state by now. You're just, stuck right there on that one loop. You can't figure out how to get back on the interstate. And you're like, oh, there's my roadmap. Okay, we're back on it and we're moving again.
Yeah, there you go. You're playing right into my analogy, and sometimes I say that to people. Like I'm working with people all the time that are just starting out with keto, and they want to get to where I'm at. I'm like, well, it's been 6 years for me. We're traveling cross country. I left New Jersey 6 years ago, so I'm almost in California already. You just left. You're still in New Jersey. You haven't gone anywhere yet. People need to be patient, and you can't always expect instant success. That's what people are looking for. They want instant success, and it's just not possible. And I try to explain that it's this lifelong journey. We're playing the long game. We're running a marathon, not a sprint. All right, let's get into your content creation because that's really what I was hoping to promote the most here for you. At what point did you realize you wanted to do more than just live this way, that you wanted to actually create content around it as well?
That was kind of a happy accident. So I mentioned that I got into social media as my diary to kind of keep up with what I'm doing and hold myself accountable. And I did not go into that at all with I honestly, I thought maybe I might get 100 followers and I'll be good. Like, I don't care. I'm not here for followers. I'm here to hold myself accountable. So as I'm going, and X was my main platform, that is where I started. And people were so friendly and asking for recipes and how I'm making things. And I thought, man, they keep asking for recipes. There's got to be something I can do to be able to share these. And then people were saying, well, can you make a video of this? And I thought, well, I mean, I guess I could. I don't know. Let me see. And I just kind of thought about it. And I sat on the idea for probably a good year before I even got to the point of recording videos. In fact, I thought I wanted to go into a more coaching aspect with this. And I even like came up with a whole coaching program and everything and had a test group and it went really well and I enjoyed it. But I still had that nagging in the back of my mind of people have asked for recipes. Even in my coaching group, I was sharing recipes. Maybe I need to explore this. And I was saving recipes to be able to share. And I couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't make myself do it. And it's a lot like the whole social media thing. I was scared to do it. I was scared to jump on the YouTube bandwagon. I was like, I don't know. I just don't know if it's going to be worth my time. And finally, it was World Carnivore Month. And I want to say it was the very last week of World Carnivore Month. And I just told myself, you know what? You have got to rip off this band-aid. And if you're going to start this thing, there is no better time than World Carnivore Month. People are here for it. Like this is the thing. And so I committed myself. I said, we're going to do a video and we're going to get this done. And from that point, I have done a video a week without missing since then. I mean, it's been over a year. We're in June right now. So it's been a year and a half. in a year and a half that I've been doing it. And it's been incredible and I've loved it. I've loved every step of the way. I love when people are in the comments and telling me that they have tried these recipes, or my favorite is when people are like, oh man, I was missing this certain thing and you said that this would remind me of it and I tried it and I made it and this is amazing. And it's just, it just fills my heart to know that people are finding my recipes and it's just like, it's making a difference for them. It's just wonderful.
A video a week for a year, and that's what I love about you is the commitment there. Because I experimented with that at one point, but that doesn't work for me. And just like the way that I participate in Discord with you guys at times, like doing it every single day, like having a daily check-in every day, it just doesn't work for me. It becomes it almost feels like pressure at some point or something, and then I want to like run from it. To be able to do a video every week, and there during that time you've gone on vacation and you had a problem with your X account at one point where you couldn't even promote, like you had all this adversity going on, but you still put out a video a week. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's very different from my usual personality. I'm one of those people that gets an idea and I'm really excited about it. And I'm like, yes, we're going to do this. And then like a few months later, I'm like, I've lost interest. But I really think the driving force here is people telling me that they're using my recipes and it's making a difference. Because now I feel like it's not for my interest. I'm doing this for other people now. So it's just so much more rewarding that way.
And your channel is incredible. I'll link to it in the description of the show. When you guys go check it out, it's gonna look like she's making almost standard American recipes. It's like you see waffles and like sandwiches and like frothy drinks, and it's all carnivore. A lot of it's dairy free. I'm like, how do you even? I don't even know how you do it, but it's amazing. It's only a matter of time before this channel becomes really, really huge. What do you have, like 2,000 subscribers right now?
I've got just over 2,000. Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of time. I think you'll end up blowing up because it's so valuable. And one of the things I like to do with Samantha is we'll sit down and we'll every once in a while she'll have a craving for something new or different. So we'll just go look through and she'll find something that she likes and we'll try to make it. So it's been great for us too. We love it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. I know you sent me I think a video of her in the kitchen making something of mine. I don't remember if it was the hot chocolate or something like that. So I love that. Yeah. I think uh, my my funniest moment, because you talk about how my recipes all look like standard American food. Like it's not carnivore. It doesn't look carnivore. And I remember, I want to say it was a recap video that I had done at the beginning of the year. And it was like my top three favorite like bread replacement type things. And it was, I know my eggy waffles were on it and some egg white wraps. I can't remember what else. Something else was on there. And somebody put this really rude comment in the comment section, and they were like, "This is not carnivore. This is all keto garbage stuff," and made this huge thing. And then before I could even respond, people were commenting on it, and they were like, "What in this is not carnivore? It's eggs and like ghee, and there's beef gelatin. There's not even cheese in it. Like it's carnivore." So I love that. I love that it's disguising enough to fool anybody.
That's a really funny story. But the best part of that is that your own supporters there are the ones defending you. You don't even have to do it yourself. That should
Yes,
right there.
I love that too. It's amazing.
What kinds of videos seem to help people the most?
Well, as far as my videos, I mean, they're all cooking videos, so they're all just recipes. So I'm not really falling in the category of making a whole bunch of carnivore content that spreads a wide net. So I don't really know how to answer that. I think the fact that I'm a dairy-free carnivore, that's a very, very small niche. There are not a lot of dairy-free carnivores creating content. So I think that alone is what I see creating the most value for people as far as my channel goes. Now I know there's content creators that are doing all kinds of things. And, I mean, I think we all help in different ways. We've got the ones that are the coaches and they're bringing personal stories and you can relate to them. And I think that's incredibly helpful and incredibly powerful. And you've got me making recipes, and that's great for people who are just, I don't want to just eat meat. I need some kind of variety, and that helps in that kind of way. And then you've got the Dr. Barry over here who's giving you all of the medical, not medical advice. And it's kind of giving you the backbone to your diet of, this is what's going to help you, and don't let being perfect destroy you, and work your way there. So it's all very valid. I think it's all really helpful.
Yeah, true. And the dairy-free thing, I think, is going to become bigger over time. Just like more and more people will begin to be using their diet to treat their mental health. We're still on the ground floor of that. And the dairy-free thing is going to become more common because people are willing to try. People are starting to experiment with their diets. From my experience, a lot of people do not tolerate dairy, but there's only one way to find out. You have to take it out for a period of time and then put it back in and see what it does to you. And that's all part of the process in the tiers of the fire diet, is helping you eliminate things and then adding them back in so you can determine what works for you. So I suspect that your channel is going to grow even more because of that over time.
I'm hoping so. I've noticed that too. A lot of people, even if they're just in the space for weight loss, dairy is a big factor in there for a lot of people. And once you go from keto and you go from carnivore with dairy, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people are focused very heavily on dairy at the beginning because that is the easiest way to find that comfort food. That is the easiest way to find a bread replacement. And people rely very heavily on it. So for me to be able to come in with the bread replacements. I mean, I've got my waffle version, which is dairy free, to replace those chaffles that people are making for their bread replacement. It's, I feel like the more people that are trying to get away from the dairy, they're going to be able to find comfort in what I'm offering them.
Exactly. And for people doing diet for mental health, the dairy can be extremely inflammatory and they don't even know it. So you're talking about weight gain and other things going on. But someone like me, I've done plenty of dairy experiments. I did one recently where I was able to get the A2 dairy. It was from the Amish. It was raw, and it ended miserably like every dairy experiment I've ever done. Now, if I could tolerate the skin issues I get pimples and bumps in different areas of my body depending on what dairy I'm consuming. I get digestive issues, so I get bloating and gas. If I could tolerate all that, I cannot tolerate the fact that it gives me extreme cravings for more dairy and it makes me irritable and angry. It does something to my brain or my nervous system with inflammation. There are other food items that do the same thing to me, like cocoa butter. And the interesting thing with the dairy and the cocoa butter is I can keep my fat really high. I can still keep my fat at or above 90% most days. I could have crazy good ketones in the fours, really low glucose in the 70s. But if I'm consuming those inflammatory foods, I'm still going to be angry and irritable and depressed and just not be anywhere near the person I want to be. So I bring that up because my channel is focused on doing diet for mental health. And I find it to be really important for people. And unfortunately, dairy, it gets their grips in you. And there are people that they won't even consider the idea of giving up their dairy because they just want it so bad. And I can relate because I said the cravings that I get for dairy, it's unbelievable how strong it is. I'm going to bed at night and I'm dreaming about my next dairy dose. I'm eating dairy when I'm not even hungry, which is like, it's so insane that I would do that. It's so uncomfortable and I hate it.
I know exactly what you're saying. I find it gets your hooks in you. I was the same way having that dairy, and taking it out. That's probably the hardest thing, is to like get it out of your system. But once it's gone, you can resist it and you're fine. Like I said, I've gone for well over a year. I mean, I've probably gone for 2 years now being dairy free. But in May, I went to Meatstock and they had some beautiful raw dairy there. I did not purchase it. I wasn't planning on purchasing it, but we were gifted some heavy cream, like complete, raw heavy cream, but I think it was a pint of heavy cream and a block of raw butter. I was the only one in our group that was traveling by car and could have a cooler and could take something with me. So I ended up bringing it back home and I was going to have the butter. I thought that is my one thing is that raw dairy, not available in my area. And a lot of people say, well, you say you can't tolerate dairy, but I bet you can have raw dairy. I bet you'll be just fine with raw dairy. And, I thought at the very least, I have been gifted this opportunity. We're going to try it and we're going to see if it works and I can tolerate it. I will know. Doesn't mean I have to eat it, but I will know. And if I don't, I have my defense when somebody says, well, I bet you can eat raw dairy. And I can say, no, it didn't work for me. I've tried it. And I didn't do a whole lot of the heavy cream. I was only doing a tablespoon at a time. Honestly, I was terrified of putting too much in at once because my body, it doesn't respond well to sudden changes. So I was doing just a very little bit. I might have had a quarter of a cup total out of the whole thing. And yeah, it was fine for the most part. I didn't get inflamed to the point where I was seeing inflammation in my face when I would wake up the next day, like I do with regular dairy. But my skin was flaring up more, and that is my main telltale sign is you get that skin reacting, that inflammation is there. It is reacting. So I had that little bit and I had my raw butter. I think I ate the whole block was mine. I don't think I shared it with anybody. I ate the whole block over a week or two. I mean, it wasn't all at once, but I enjoyed it. But I told myself once this is done, we're not going back to it because you're itching, your skin's not super happy with it, and we're going to get away from it. And then on top of that, with that raw cream, I went back to doing my porky puffs, and I have a hard time with pork rinds saying no. And I don't know about the rest of the world, but I can overeat pork rinds so easily and I will start gaining weight like crazy. So the pork rinds and the heavy cream together was not a good combo. And I couldn't say no and I couldn't stop. And I was like, this is your moment. You have to walk away. You are walking away right now.
It's amazing how well you know your body. I can be the same way with pork rinds that I experimented with making my own chicharrones like in the last 2 years, and they were even worse because I was frying them in suet tallow, and
Oh,
yeah, and right out of the pot when they're still hot and dripping with the fat and everything, really difficult. It's funny how your dairy experiment was very similar to mine. I didn't plan it. There was a place online that we buy from that was going out of business, and they had a bunch of stuff on sale, and we still had dairy in Samantha's diet. She goes in and out. She still had dairy, so I'm like, I'm gonna order all these things for her and see how much she likes them. She was drinking uh, kefir, A2 kefir, and she was tolerating it well. So they had that. They had yogurt, the butter, even ice cream that was sweetened with honey. So I bought all these things for her. She did not like any of it, and I can see why because it's raw and very very tangy is what I thought. The butter was extremely tangy. The yogurt has like a really strong flavor to it. She didn't want it, so it was all sitting there. I was like, well, this is a good opportunity. Everyone's always saying to me, well, have you tried the A2? Have you tried the raw? I'm like, I could never get it, so here I had it. And I literally knew from my first try because I tasted some butter, I tasted some yogurt. I was like, oh, it's a little sour. I was like, I don't know. But then 5 minutes later, I'm going back in the fridge to have more. Right, like almost immediately, I left the room like, nah, I didn't like that. No, I'm gonna go have some more. So I knew right away that it probably wasn't gonna end well, and I ended up. There was the one day where I wasn't even hungry, and it's sometimes I go into like this zombie mode, but I find myself in the kitchen and I'm eating this yogurt out of the jar. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not even hungry. I wasn't even gonna eat like until hours later. So I ended up having to dispose of a bunch of it because I just knew it wasn't gonna work out.
yeah, but you can check it off your list.
I guess. I mean, if nothing else, it closes that door. So I don't like when I have periods of time where I'm dealing with stress or I'm not able to stick to my routine like I want to, and I have some cravings. The idea of, well, maybe I could find some raw dairy, and now I know like that door is closed, so I cannot even entertain the idea.
I agree with that so much. Having that door shut, oh, it is so much better than having it cracked and you're kind of peeking in and like, should I flip on the light? Should I see what's available? It's like, no, That door needs to be shut and locked and padlocked. Like it's not even a thought anymore. It's gone.
Exactly. And when I have these conversations with people, they may say something like, "Oh, that's sad that you can't consume dairy." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's actually it's rewarding and it's liberating because I know what my body can and cannot tolerate."
I agree with that so much. I do. I remember talking about that last time where I went through stages as I changed my diet throughout the years where it was always poor me. I can't have what everyone else is having. Poor me. I can't do this. And then I realized it's not poor me. Like I'm happy to know I cannot eat these foods. This is liberating for me. I'm not going to feel bad when I eat what I eat, and I'm going to enjoy what I'm eating. I'm not missing out. I'm having a better quality of life, and I am so grateful for it.
Exactly. All right, let's shift back into your videos. Do you have an idea of your favorite video and your most popular video?
Oh, let's see. My favorite video, I'm going to say it's I'm gonna say this is my most common recipe I always go back to and I eat almost every day. The video itself, I haven't looked back to see. It was early videos. It's probably poor quality and I probably could remake it. But the recipe that I eat almost every day would be my eggy waffles, just because they are super easy and they give you like a nice texture to kind of break things up. I mean, it's like a bread type thing, but it's made from eggs, and then you've got your fat added in there, and you've got some added protein from having beef gelatin in it, and they're incredible. And then they're a great vessel to be able to slather on even more fat and get that in the diet. So that one is awesome. My most popular video, I should have looked back to see. I want to say it might be my French fry video. I have a carnivore French fry and it's made from egg yolks and they're fried in tallow and they're incredible. They look like French fries. I mean, granted, it's not a potato. It's not. You know, it's not a potato. And if you're looking for a potato, obviously this is not it. But if you're looking for that snackable stick that you can dip in, like a sugar-free ketchup or a mayonnaise dip or something like that, with that texture that you get that reminds you of biting into a fry, and then being fried in tallow, it's got that smell of the French fries, and it's got like it's amazing. It's so good, and it's a really popular one.
That's cool. I refer people to your channel all the time because I feel they're perfect as transition items. And even if you're only going to do it for 3 months or 6 months, as you're transitioning away from a standard American diet into more of a what I call wild in nature diet, what would we encounter if we were not domesticated? If we were go back to when we were a caveman, or what would we find? So if you're transitioning from one extreme to the other, your recipes are perfect for that. And the idea like you just spoke about waffles and french fries, but there's no wheat and there's no potatoes.
That's right.
If someone is overwhelmed by carnivore, or maybe they just found your channel and they don't know where to start, you have 2 or 3 videos you would recommend they check out first?
All right. So coming into the carnivore diet, being overwhelmed, what do I eat? I'm not a big cook. I don't cook a lot of things, but now I'm having to fix my own food. I'm going to first recommend my lazy pot roast recipe because you're literally letting it cook overnight while you sleep. It doesn't get any easier than that. It is a big chunk of meat. It is plenty to live off of for a few days, make multiple meals out of it. I think that is a perfect go-to for any newbie. Let's see, what else? Um, Bone broth. I have one for bone broth to teach you how to make that. It is one of the simplest things that you can make, and it's full of all kinds of nutrients. And once you know how to make it, and the good thing about making it yourself is you get the really collagen rich bone broth that when it's cold, you can flip it upside down and it stays in the jar. It's solid. It's jello. It's not coming out, which is incredible. But once you know how to make your bone broth, that opens up a world to being able to make, well, just drinking the bone broth as it is amazing. You can make a savory latte out of your bone broth. You can make egg drop soup. You can do like meatball soups and things like that. So it's definitely opening up that world to be able to bring more things into your life.
Awesome. That's such a big help for people. What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when trying carnivore for the first time? Do you see that in your experience?
I think the biggest mistake people make, and some people are going to argue with me because I understand there are people of different personalities, and one personality is I'm all in, go, 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 and another personality is I'm going to put my toe in, let it warm up to the temperature, maybe get my ankle in there. But I think the pedal to the metal people are making a big mistake going carnivore overnight and having all of the digestive distress that's going to happen. I mean, people will say, and I feel like it's a big thing with vegans too. They're like, if you switch your diet and it's destroying your gut, that can't be healthy for you. And I think, well, I could switch to a vegan diet. I could jump right in or I could go slow to it. And either way, my digestion is not my digestion will not hold up to that. It will not work. If you step into any major change though in your diet, even even when you're doing like a standard American diet and you make a massive change to it, but you're keeping with a high carb kind of diet, your body is going to have to adjust. It needs time to adjust. It's used to doing what you're doing. So when you change whatever you're eating and you're like, okay, here we go. I'm doing a bunch of protein and I am doing a crap ton of fat and there's no more carbs, you're going to have some problems. You're going to be not feeling so good. You're going to have a huge rush of fluid come out. You're going to be amazed first of all and be like, oh my gosh, I lost all this weight all of a sudden, like 10 pounds gone in a week. And then you're going to feel like crap because you've flushed all of the fluids out of your body. You're no longer holding electrolytes in there to keep you hydrated and feeling good. And then you're having all of this fat on top of it. Well, now you're running to the bathroom constantly because your body's not ready for all of this fat to digest. You've got to let your body warm up to it and build up to it over time. And when you slowly work your way into this, your body it's not just you warming up to the idea of I can do this. Your body's warming up to the idea of, well, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. We got a little more fat today. Let's get ready to digest more fat. And then tomorrow we'll be ready for a little bit more. And then the next day a little bit more. And it's just going to be such a healthier, happier transition for you than to just pedal to the metal and just, you know, pressure on no matter what happens because it can be uncomfortable.
I love that message. You're speaking my language. And I'm the type of guy that is usually all gas and no brakes. One of the things I've been really hyper focused on the last 2 years and the last year and 6 months, especially, is taking my foot off the gas a little bit, pumping the brakes a little bit, finding some moderation. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see with people using diet for mental health as well. They want to go from standard American diet right into a high fat keto diet. And in 4 days, they feel like crap and they say, well, keto didn't work for me. I hear that a lot.
And they didn't even get in ketosis yet.
Exactly. And that's part of my motivation for writing the fire diet. And the way that I designed it was it's a stepwise approach and you're supposed to take it slow. And little by little, you make slow changes over time. Do you think people overcomplicate carnivore? And if so, where do you see that happening most?
I think some people can overcomplicate it. I think as humans, we naturally overcomplicate things. We overthink things all the time. So when we're told to switch our entire way, like our life has revolved around an entire way of eating up to a certain point, and now you're telling me we gotta make a switch, and we're ripping everything out from under. We're pulling that rug out from under you, and now you're just gonna, have to figure it out. I think it terrifies people into over complicating and overthinking what it is. It can be very, very simple. All you have to do is focus on eating the meat, eating the fat, not just eating more. Like you're not just adding more meat to your diet and saying it's carnivore. You have to take things out, obviously. But I think just having the basic understanding that your nutrition is coming from the meat and the fat. And that's probably the biggest problem that people misunderstand at the very beginning. I know walking into this way of eating, I was completely ignorant of how many nutrients come in meat and come into fat. And it took me a while, even after changing my diet, to realize how many nutrients were coming from the fat itself. I grew up thinking meat is protein, end of story. That's it. You want vitamins and minerals, you eat your vegetables. I have now learned, I have learned you want your vitamins and nutrients, you eat your meat and you have your fat. You're wanting some potassium. Don't go grab a banana. Don't go grab an avocado. Go make some bacon. That bacon is going to give you way more potassium than these vegetables ever were going to. Your vitamin D is low. Well, maybe you're not taking in enough fat to be able to have a good source of vitamin D in your body. So I think having the basic understanding of where your nutrients are coming from, don't stress. If you eat the meat and the fat, you're getting the nutrients. That's very important. I know I have all of my recipes to make all of these crazy, wonderful Wonderland things. That's going to overcomplicate things for people. The recipes I create are not for the most part, not for everyday recipes. These are for holidays. These are for, I have a craving and I can't get past it, or I want a milkshake. I'm about to throw in the towel. I really don't want to go off the rails. What can I do? Hey, have an egg shake. I have something for you. So I think a lot of people see recipes that I do and they think I'm overcomplicating the situation in general, when in reality, I've got that little last minute emergency band-aid to throw on the situation to maybe let you make it one more day without falling off the rails. I think the key to not overcomplicating this diet is to keep it simple and to understand that meat and that fat, that's your nutrition.
Perfect answer. I love that. So you can frame it more as your recipes are a safety net. They're not an everyday way of life, right?
Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, I see part of what I see now is that we have so much information out there, so many influencers, so many doctors, and Ken Berry is going to say beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and then Dr. Boz is going to say the sardine fasting, and how many other people out there are doing so many different things. And I'm working with people all the time. Like, well, should I be having sardines? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. Do you like sardines? Do you want to try them? Should I be fasting? I'm like, same answer. Like, I don't know. Do you enjoy fasting? Whatever it is you decide to do, it shouldn't be because this doctor said to do it. It should be because you want to do it. You're going to potentially enjoy it, and it's going to be sustainable. It has to work for your life. So you have to answer those questions for yourself. It's a blessing and a curse that we have so much information available today.
I think a big part of that too is that you've got kind of two camps set up in the carnivore space. You've got these carnivores that have been here for years. They've already been through the basics. They have tried things. They know what works for them. And then you've got these newbies that are coming in and they are desperate for information and they just need to know, like, where do I start? And the newbies start seeing the things with the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and the sardine fast, and an egg fast, and water fasting and dry fasting, and all the things. And their message gets very muddled and confused. And do I eat butter? Do I not eat butter? They told me to eat a stick of butter. They're telling me that I shouldn't be having butter at all. The other camp, I feel like, where we've been here for years, this is the space where we kind of know the basics and we understand, and we look at beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and the sardine fast, and the egg fast, and the lion diet, and fasting. All of these things are tools within the carnivore toolbox that you can use for a reset. You can use as you see fit to change things up if something isn't working for you. Whereas all of the newbies here, they need a very basic understanding of, this is carnivore, this is what it is. Try this approach, try with high fat. Once you've made it this many days, if high fat's not working for you, maybe dial it back a little bit, just a little bit at a time. Don't go completely lean. You have to play with it and tailor it. But it's completely different when you have put in the time and put in the effort and you see the changes that your body is making and you're understanding where the changes are happening, versus coming in here not understanding the diet, not understanding the nutrition. A lot of them are just here for weight loss. So some of them don't want to grasp what's happening. They just want it to happen. and it gets very muddled and very confusing for them because they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You ready to get into some meat stock talk?
Sure.
Great. I'm really curious about this myself. So I know that you went to meat stock this year. What made you want to go?
I have wanted to go to meatstock since it started. Actually, I'm a little bit sad that I never did make it to the original one because it's so big now. I don't know if you saw it when it first started, but it started as a tiny little week-long carnivore retreat in a cabin. And you stayed in this cabin with all of the speakers, and it was very immersive. You ate meals with them, you watched you watched them do their speeches, but you were eating meals with them, you're visiting with them, and you're all right there together. And I was like, oh man, that is incredible. One day I am going to get to do that. I can't afford it. There are things that I would love to do in this space that I just can't afford it. I will look at it and I'll be like, you know what? If I were a single person, maybe I could make a goal that I would spend that money on myself to go. But I have to put that money toward family vacation and family time and doing things together. And I am grateful that I have my family for that. I'm definitely not blaming them for me not getting to go. But because I have other priorities, that puts things like meat stock on the back burner. So each year I have watched what has gone on with meat stock, and it's gotten a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And then this year I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be at a convention center. Like this thing is getting so big. So it's in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So in the mountains, and it's beautiful. And I thought I would love to do this, but once again, I can't afford it. I looked at it. I was like, maybe with the convention center, I could afford like the weekend tickets instead of doing the full retreat. And I'm like, maybe. And I looked into it and I was like, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. Well, I got asked by the Carnivore Bar. I love this company, love these people. And they approached me and said, hey, we need somebody to help us with our booth. Would you like to join us for Meat Stock? And I said, heck, yes, I do. I want to be there. Yes. So I met up with Carnivore Bar and we had the most incredible weekend. I worked for them all weekend. So it wasn't the typical experience of going and seeing the speakers and all that, but I was still on the ground floor getting to talk to all the people and it was incredible.
That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. I remember over 2 years ago when I first saw you on Twitter. I know you had such a smaller following than you do now, but I could tell right away just from your consistency and the quality of your posts that you were going places. And that was initially why I reached out for you to be my guest. And I was shocked that you hadn't been on a podcast before. Somehow I was your first interview. I don't even know how that happened. But this is the future I had always seen for you, where you're going to have a YouTube channel and it's going to be popular and you're going to have endorsements. And I'm just really so happy and satisfied for you that it's happening.
Well, thank you so much. I have just loved every minute of it. Like I said, when I started, I didn't see it going anywhere. I thought I was going to be lucky to have 100 followers. I wasn't doing it for that reason. I wasn't expecting people to, latch on to me and say, hey, I like what you're doing. And, I relate. And so it's been really incredible to kind of ride this wave with it. And like being at Meat Stock, I think the most exciting thing for me because I'm a new YouTuber. I mean, I've been around for about a year and I didn't really expect anyone to recognize me or anything. I mean, I just went with Carnivore Bar. I'm just hanging out in the booth, selling carnivore bars and people were coming up and asking the other people I was working with, they're like, is that friendly neighborhood carnivore over there? And they come and they talk to me. And I mean, it was amazing. I was getting pictures with everyone and I was like, you guys, people know who I am. What is this? It was, oh my gosh, it was the coolest feeling ever.
Well, just autographs.
No autographs, but lots of pictures,
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
lots of hugs too.
Did anything surprise you about Meatstock or anything maybe change about how you think about your role in the community or the content you want to make?
Well, if anything, it's just really validated the feeling that I am right where I need to be. That, especially, I have that. niche that I'm in with dairy-free carnivore. And I said there's not a lot of creators in that space. And almost every person that recognized me and came up and said hi and we were talking specifically pointed out, I love your dairy-free recipes. And I thought that right there, like these are my people. They're here for what I am trying. I'm trying to gift the world with what I've been gifted. And that's what I want. I want them to be able to get that. And it was just so validating to, be able to hear that and feel the love there.
That's so cool. I'm really so happy for you. I I imagine myself one day going to a mental health conference where I'm going to get to meet all the people that I associate with. I have made so many really special and close friends in this community. And from what I'm told, there are people all over the place that know who I am because I've been doing this long enough. And I've had dreams about I go there and just like you experience, like people come up to you and they want to take their picture with you and everything. So it must be really awesome to experience that. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. It was an incredible experience. And I know you're going to get to one of those conferences and the same thing is going to happen to you. You're going to love it.
Hopefully one day. So let's talk about Carnivore Bar. How did that whole thing come about with them?
Well, like I said, started with X posting what I'm eating every day. And I personally love pemmican. In fact, Carnivore Bar might be who introduced me to the idea of pemmican. I'm not 100% sure. I remember seeing their bars and I thought, ooh, I want to try those. And I went on their website and I was like, holy crap, I cannot afford that. That is so expensive. And so I thought, you know what? We cook. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make this thing happen. And I made pemmican and I loved it. And so I was sharing every time I was making pemmican or every time I was eating pemmican. It was on my X account. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm eating. And people were constantly asking, how do I make pemmican? What do you do to make yours look like this? So many questions around it. And that was the first video that people were saying, I need you to make a video of you doing this so I can understand how to make this. So at some point along the way, I got a message from Carnivore Bar and they said, hey, we think you would really enjoy our bars. Can we send you some for you to try? And I was like, heck yeah, you can send me some bars because I've already looked at them and have been dying to try them and I can't freaking afford them. So they sent me the bars. And of course, they were as amazing as I dreamed they would be. They were different from how I was making them. Their texture was slightly different, but absolutely delicious. So, and then they had like lots of different flavors with them and things. So they, asked if I wanted to be an affiliate and start promoting them. And I thought absolutely. The hardest part for me on these bars was that I myself could not afford them, right? That was the hardest part was I can't afford them. And I thought, but they are really good bars. They're delicious. They are nutrient dense. They are real food. They are for on the go when you have, like when you need something, you just grab it and you go and you got it. And I thought there are some people out there that can afford it. I might not be the one, but there are some people that can afford it. So all I can do is put it out there. And then if people see it and they can afford it and they want it, I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy that they can afford it and get it. So I don't know if that was Carnivore Bar's way of saying, hey, Holly, stop making pemmican because we need you to promote ours instead or what. But they like coincidentally, though, I will shamelessly plug them for a minute because coincidentally, we set up this podcast interview here. And as of right now, when we're recording, Carnivore Bar just launched their new bars last week, which are the everyday bar. And it's because the rest of the world had the same problem I did. We can't afford these bars, they're too freaking expensive. So now they're offering bars. They've got some that are $5 and some that are $6 a bar, which compared to a $16 to $18 bar that they had before, these are incredibly affordable now. And then even some people will still complain these are too expensive. And all I have to say is like, this is you obviously, if you can't afford it, like don't buy it. I mean, they've turned a whole leaf with their company and they're seriously promoting eat the meat you can afford. And I think that is amazing. So if you can't afford it, I'm not going to like berate you because you can't afford these bars, but people will go spend $4 or $5 on a king size candy bar without batting an eye. This is $5 or $6 for a full chunk of nutrition. I mean, it's a 1 ounce bar, but that's a quarter pound of meat that's been dehydrated down into that bar, and it's high fat, and you've got all that nutrient density in there. Like, to me, that is worth every penny. That it's incredible to me.
You're talking about your pemmican recipe, and I just wanted to touch on when we were calling them meat cookies, right? And we put them in silicone molds. That was a huge part of our journey here in our family for Samantha as we were getting her through the beginning stages of her ketogenic diet. We did meat cookies for months and months, and I put a lot of time and effort into that. I used to have to make pot roast for her. I would get bottom round or top round, and I would braise it in a crock pot on the oven. I would start with my own homemade smoked tallow, so I'd make my own tallow. I would cook it on the smoker, so I had a little bit of smoky flavor, and get that meat like as cooked as possible, and then let it cool, and then pound it into meat dust. I'd use the chopper thing that pounded into meat dust and make her the meat cookies. Man, she used to eat them at school. She used to eat them all day long. She's not doing that anymore. I wonder if I tried that again for her, if she'd be into it. But that was a really huge part of our lives for a long time, and it was all thanks to you and your pemmican recipe.
Well, good. I love the meat cookies. In fact, uh, I got I got some carnivore bars when they launched, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm flying through them. I had to dehydrate these of meat so I can make my own and slow down because I'm like, I need to be saving these for travel. They're packaged for travel. I need to be making my own because I can't afford to constantly be buying products like that. That's not my jam. But I literally last night just I've broken it down into meat dust, and today I'll be adding in the tallow. I got gifted a big old container of tallow. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, yes, time for more homemade pemmican. I love the meat cookies.
Yeah, this summer we're gonna be getting Samantha back into more of an elimination phase, which would be something like I do it in the fire diet plan. So she's gonna need to eat a lot of beef items. I'm gonna have to experiment with that and see. I'll mention it to her and see what she says. She may be sick of them. Sometimes we had so many of them, and she might be like, "Oh, I don't want a meat cookie," but she might be excited about them. It's been a long time.
Yeah, if it's been a while, she might be excited for it. That's
Yeah.
one thing I love doing is coming back around to like eliminating things. This is going to take me back to your question way earlier as you were asking like what things have changed in 2 years for me. And I didn't think about saying this when we were talking about that because this is not a carnivore food. But years, back then we would go on vacation and travel and things like that. And I would go camping and stuff like that. I would still eat nuts. I would do like pistachios or cashews or peanuts and things like that. At Christmas time, I would still do some keto peanut butter cookies. I would make those for the kids and eat them. And that's one of those things that I've had to eliminate. You have to constantly go back and find things that you can't handle. I noticed that I was getting severe back pain whenever I was having these things. And remove them from my diet. And that's another door that's officially been shut. I'm like, we don't have to open that one again. There's no more back pain.
Yeah, that's great. And that's like what I did with the fermented vegetables because I've been following Dr. Sean O'Mara for years. He's the reason that I still sprint today. I've been sprinting for years because of him, trying to eliminate my visceral fat and get myself in great shape. And he pushes the ferments. Anybody out there knows that he promotes a carnivore diet with ferments. And at the time, it was like winter for me. I did not, everybody knows this, I did not have a good last 12 or 15 months. And I was trying to get myself closer to what I'm doing now. And I thought, you know what? I've never really given it a fair shot. Let me try it. And what I enjoyed most about it was just the process of doing the ferments. It was really strange going to the grocery store and going to the produce section and actually like being interested in what they have and buying vegetables was all really weird. I enjoy the process of having the veggies and checking on them every day, burping the jars, all that stuff. I enjoyed eating them, but only really for them to be in my mouth. Other than that, gas and bloating right away, digestive issues. And I tried. I thought maybe it would work. Like that's another door that's just officially closed. Now I have a refrigerator downstairs full of all these jars. That I'm gonna have to get rid of them all because I'm not gonna be consuming them. I was hoping that I would get Samantha to have some too, maybe to get her some healthy microbes. That's the whole idea is to diversify your biome or whatever. But there you go. There's another door that is officially closed for me. The more doors I can
Yeah.
close, the better off I am.
That's right. But you know what I absolutely love about your take on it? If you didn't just go to the store and buy some ferment, you're like, no, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do it myself. And that was, I got to give you such props for that. That's incredible.
That's my style to begin with. You know, when I was eating a standard American diet and we were doing sourdough, I was making my own. I had my own starter for years. I was doing my own sourdough bread. We made our own pizza. I never went as far as making my own pasta. We ate a lot of pasta, but we were doing pesto. I loved pesto pasta, so I was growing my own basil. That's just my style. Some people are like that, and that's just the way I like to do things. The cool thing about the ferments is I did two full rounds. In the first round, I did a whole bunch of individual vegetables just to see what I kind of liked, and then the second round, I combined all the things I like. So I really like turnips, parsnips, carrots, and ginger especially. So the second time around, I was combining all those things together in the jar, and each one comes out a little bit differently. So that's part of what I like about doing things that way is tailoring it to what I like, personalization. You know, I'm like that with almost any product I buy. Like I'm into kayaking. If I got a kayak that I'm going to keep, I'm putting flames on it. I'm putting, I'm going to personalize it. I'm taking the seat back out. I'm putting a back band in. And I just love to personalize everything. That's just part of my process.
I love that. I do the same thing. I like to get in and be really hands on with it all, especially in the kitchen.
You can see that. Yeah. All right. So let's get to some bigger picture reflections. What have you learned about yourself through this whole process that had nothing to do with food?
I'm going to go back to the situation of being able to do a YouTube video every single week since I started, and it's been a year and a half now because that is not something that I would have stuck with otherwise. So that's been a big thing for me is to realize like I can stick with something. I can do it. I knew I could stick with a diet, but I didn't know I could stick with a hobby type thing, solidly keep doing it and be showing up for it. And that's probably my biggest non-diet victory right there.
And that's a major realization. That's got to give you a lot of confidence to continue forward.
It does. It makes me really happy.
What do you imagine your YouTube channel becoming over the next year or two?
You know what? This might be to my detriment. I don't try to look at it in the future. I'm not trying to see what it's going to become or what it could become. I'm very hyper focused on doing recipes that I like, that I know other people are going to like. I'm not, I don't know, I'm not chasing what's the viral thing. I'm not chasing what's going to make this go big. I'm trying to comfortably fit in a space where other people are, where just, we have each other's back. I know that I can't tolerate dairy. I know you can't tolerate dairy. I want something to bridge that gap between us and bring you some comfort. So I guess I don't really have the most like business goal oriented outlook for YouTube. And like I said, it might be to my detriment, but I'm very comfortable where I'm at and just focusing on what I'm doing for other people.
I think that's a great outlook. I wouldn't say it's a detriment. I think if that's what works for you, you stick to it. And what I've said all along from your very first video is that your channel is going to get huge. It's just a matter of time. So you just keep plugging away and you wait for it to happen.
Thank you. I'm plugging away.
What kind of person do you most hope finds your content?
Really just anybody that this is going to speak to, anyone that, I mean, they don't even necessarily have to be a dairy-free person finding my content. It's just somebody that my content can help bridge a gap in their life. It's maybe it's somebody that's keto and is never considering carnivore in their life. Well, I've got some, low carb, most of them zero carb recipes that they can sprinkle into their keto life and maybe have some more keto carbs added in because they had my recipes here. Maybe it's somebody that is a diabetic and is just learning things about, maybe I shouldn't be having all these carbs because maybe I can control my insulin a little bit better without them. Oh, look, here's some recipes that are reminding me of my standard American carby stuff. And this is a different version of it. So really just absolutely anyone, even people looking for more protein in their diet or, just any which way you go, just anybody that I can help solve a problem for, that's who I want to find me.
That's awesome. I love how you're putting this because like I said, I've already described it this way. You're bridging a gap. You're providing a safety net for people, not necessarily a daily way of eating.
Yeah, absolutely. The safety net thing, I really like that. Now, some of them are very simple and they can be eaten every day. Like I said, the pot roast and things like that. But there's definitely a plethora of safety net options for you as well.
All right, are you ready to get into our closing?
Let's do it.
The first time we talked, I asked what advice you give your younger self. Now, if you could go back in time with your current knowledge and mindset and relive one defining moment, good or bad, without changing it, but just to experience it again, what would it be and why?
You know what? I have thought over this question. You sent it to me a few days ago, and I have thought and I have thought. And the fact that I can't change anything, I'm not going back in time, buddy. It's not happening. I can't think of a single instance that I would go back and relive it and not be able to change it. The happy times or the bad times, because any of the good times, I'll think back to times like, for instance, a trip to Disney. It's like, oh, it's all happy, fun times and rainbows. My life, my digestion, like it was so terrible. I couldn't make it through a day without being in pain. So do I want to go back and relive a week of Disney and then have to like suffer with like stomach cramping and like having the embarrassment of, is there a bathroom nearby? Can I make it through this ride or am I going to have to like run here? Even the happy times have a dark cloud over them. So I'm sorry, I'm not time traveling. I'm staying right here.
All right, so the questions I asked last time and to my guests that have been here the first time around are giving messages to your younger self, advice you would go back in time and give yourself. Now I'm asking you to send a message from your future self. Imagine you're looking into the future and you're receiving a message from your future self. What would you want your future self to say you accomplished or overcame?
I want to hear my future self tell me that I stuck to something. So like this whole YouTube thing with being able to keep up with it and actually follow through. That's what I want is in the future to know that I did. On the long term, I stuck with something and I made it happen.
I love it. That's really awesome. And last time the way we wrapped up was with my fat fueled philosophy question. It was a mantra. Do you remember what your answer was to that question?
Um, I feel like I said something to the effect of it's okay to cheat on the diet.
You actually said it like as a piece of advice, like go ahead and cheat and see where it brings you. Yep.
Right.
And I love that too. It's great messaging that like don't be afraid to take chances and to try things. So now it's the fat fueled evolution. Looking back, has that philosophy evolved or deepened in any way? If so, what's one insight or mantra you now live by that can inspire our listeners?
I still stick by what I said. I still think, you know, if you haven't watched the original, I didn't say just go. I didn't say go have a cheat meal. I did, but I didn't. Um, at least be on your way of eating for a good solid 3 months, 90 days. Get a good start under your belt so you know what happens when you mess up. Schedule a cheat, not a cheat day, not a cheat week, one cheat meal or treat or whatever it is. Keep it very contained. You know exactly what it is. And the very next meal, you get back on track and then be prepared to feel the things because you're going to have repercussions from eating the things. So I'm very much still on board with that philosophy. I think it's very important. Um, I I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with it because even this far down the road, I still find things that I think are a possibility. I mean, we talked about it earlier. There are possibilities, and that door is kind of cracks open, and we're peeking in. And like, can we get away with it? So even things that most people wouldn't consider a cheat, like for you and me with the dairy, um, that's not something that's on plan for us. So going through and experiencing it. And I had a hard cutoff. After this, we're done. There's no more. And once again, I had to deal with whatever came with it. And it was a learning experience. And it was the same with, you know, allowing, because I will still allow some keto things for a treat here and there if it's a family gathering or whatever. Now I say that, and it's been a while since I've actually had those kinds of things. Like I would allow some berries or nuts or goat cheese like that. And I'm not tempted anymore. It's not really appealing to me, but it's allowed. Okay. But like I said, with the nuts, with going camping and on vacation and stuff, I have learned my lesson. I'm listening to myself. So maybe that's what the new philosophy is really listen to your body. So even if you're having these things that are essentially off plan, but they're supposed to be okay and they're supposed to be safe foods, maybe they're not safe for you. So listen to your body and like make sure that when it's telling you close that door, you close that door. It's important.
Excellent, excellent message. Again, you're speaking my language here, and this is the whole essence of the way I design the fire diet is to get your signal clarity as clear as possible. Listen to your body and follow those signals. It takes time, and it took time for me. It took a lot of denial and a lot of acceptance along the way to like there were times where like I knew dairy wasn't going to work, but I tried it again anyway, just that one last ditch effort. You just got to listen to your body. I love that message. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you ready to get into our tagline?
I think I am.
All right, so I'm gonna pause this and get changed. I won't be able to hear you for a minute, and I'll come back with my get up on. All right.
Okay.
All right. We are celebrating 250th anniversary this year for the fourth.
You are ready for the fourth. Love it.
Yeah, I even changed the shirt.
I
So
see that.
the whole idea here is that I have my tenets in life, and it starts with the ketogenic diet as my foundation. And then there's all these other things I'm doing to try to maximize my mitochondria, and laughter is one of them. One of my tenets is just to have fun and enjoy life. And I like to say, like, if we're not having fun, we're not enjoying life, why are we even here on the planet, right? So I have my tagline for the show, and it's half joking, but it's half serious. It's fix yourself with fat, because that's what we're doing. We're taking the carbs out, and we're all finding healing through fat. So I usually get into my rapper persona. I usually have gold chains on, but I actually have some beads today that are red, white, and blue. Red and blue. So what I've been doing is asking all of my guests to say the tagline in their own unique way. You already had your chance at this. So this is your second chance. So I'm going to get into my rapper persona. I'm going to say it how I like to say it. I say, fix yourself with fat. So what do you think, Holly? What do you got for us today?
Well, you know what? The thing is I thought about making it my own, but from the moment I heard you say that tagline, because it wasn't because I was your friend, it wasn't because I was like, oh, I'm going to be on his podcast and I need to watch these and know what I'm getting myself into. I genuinely was watching your podcast and heard you say that in your rapper persona, and I died laughing. And I was like, oh my God, he did not like that. That is incredible. So in my mind, your tagline will always sound exactly like that because that is it. And I'm not changing it because I can't. That's my favorite. So you want me to do it?
Yeah, you're up. It's your turn.
All right. Fix yourself with that.
There you go. Perfect. I mean, they say laughter is good medicine, right?
They do.
Yeah. And so we spent a lot of time here talking about some serious things we've gone through in life and all the challenges and everything, but I like to just take it out with a laugh and have some fun.
I love it too. That's the best way to do it.
Listen, Holly, it's really been a pleasure having you on, and I thank you for sharing your journey with us again. Everyone, be sure to check out Holly's YouTube channel. The links will be in the description. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment, please. Thank you so much, Holly, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Had a blast.